How's everything?
Good, thanks. Thanks for taking a little time with me.
Of course.
I want to talk to you about all the new things happening in the sport of college basketball.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, my first few questions are about transferring. Over the last 10 years or so, the number of players seeking a transfer has exploded. What are your thoughts on that explosion, and has it surprised you at all?
It's funny. When I was 12 years ago now, I went to Iona College to work for Tim Cluse, and the night that I met with him when he got the job and he offered me an assistant job, he talked about the way he wanted to recruit, and he wanted to bring in older guys. So he wanted transfers and junior college transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, people weren't recruiting that way. So, I've been in the business for 10 years and only have recruited high school players, really. And through our time at Iona, we were able to bring in some really good transfers, but we weren't competing against a lot of schools. So, Momo Jones leaves Arizona, and Sam Cassell Jr., UConn, and guys that they were in the transfer portal now would be the highest level of recruits. At that point, we were able to get those guys because people weren't talking about and taking transfers the way they are now. And I think as time has gone on, obviously the rule change where you have immediate eligibility if you're a one-time transfer. And I think social media has kind of turned the transfer thing almost into a fad. Guys want to see their names.
Yep.
Their boys are going in the portal, so I'm going to do it too. So I think it's kind of been a perfect storm of the rule change, social media, and NIL money and possibilities at the highest level, and certain different things in different situations. I think those three things happening, roughly at the same time have kind of changed the dynamic of it, and I'm not sure it will stay this way or how long it will stay at the level it's at now, but I am surprised that it's gotten to the level it has, where teams are losing 10, 11 players in the same year, and it's gotten, and you have to evolve as a coach with it, but it has turned into something that I never thought it would get to the point it has.
Right. Like you're saying, back when you were in Iona, guys that were transferring were they were looking for a change of scenery or bigger roles, and now it's like stars and reserve players and end of the bench guys are all transferring. Do you think that's because of the rule change?
I do. I mean, between guys having if you're a first time transfer, you have immediate eligibility, graduate transfers. I think the fact they don't have to sit a year obviously changes things a lot. Always the drawback of transferring has always been leading up until the last 2 years. You had to sit out a year,
right.
And then obviously waivers got involved, and they got a little messy. Not to probably to find a better word for it, but it got a little messy with guys getting waivers, guys not getting waivers. So I think the fact you don't have to sit a year, number one, has made it a lot more attractive for someone to transfer. And number two, like you said, it's all different kind of guys. It's guys who average 20 points a game. It's guys who were sixth men and had really good years. It's guys who didn't play at all. So you're getting guys from all over the board, where in the past it used to be most guys who transferred were not playing a lot.
Right.
Like you said, change of scenery, want to go back closer to home. Now a lot of guys are doing it for no reason other than I'm going to try something different. We have 9 transfers or 8 transfers in this recruiting class. So, I'm able to look at them and each guy's story is different. The reason they decided to transfer, and it's multiple different kind of situations where 8 years ago, I think 90% of the time it was the guy who wasn't playing a lot, and the other 10% were, like you said, change of scenery, get back closer to home, academic reasons, where now it's just guys are transferring.
Has this shift changed the way you approach the offseason at Bryant?
To be honest with you, no. I've recruited this way now for 12 years. My 8 years and I want to recruit this way, and then the past 4 years at Bryant, for the most part, outside of my first year here, where I just didn't inherit a lot of scholarships. So the last 3 years, we were fairly transfer heavy. The last 2 years, we were very, very transfer heavy, and I think we've been able to attract different kind of talent because of events, and that's where you're doing all your recruiting, and it's a major adjustment where now everyone is trying to take transfers for a lot of guys who recruited differently for the last 20, 30 years. So I was blessed to be in a place where we did recruit this way before, so it has not been as big an adjustment for me. And I've wanted, I like having older guys, and when you can get veteran guys who have been in good programs, I think you have a chance to expedite your curve when you lose really good players, which we did last year. So it's something I do have a comfort level with. But I think it's just a different dynamic, and it's gotten harder to get good transfers because everyone's involved with them. And for me, it's changed. It has become a little bit more difficult because everyone's recruiting the same way, where up until a couple of years ago, we were recruiting differently in a lot of programs.
For lack of a better term, it's almost become like free agency. Do you think that's something that's good for college basketball?
That's a tough one. I don't love it. I don't love the fact that, it's really turned into you just have to coach your team that 1 year, and you can't think of it as a 4-year deal because, if you're going to bring in transfers, you're going to have guys who only have 1 to 2 years of eligibility, and B, with freshmen, are they going to make it for 4 years? Are they going to want to leave at some point? So it's a hard question for me to answer because, I do think kids should have the opportunity to move on if they don't find the right initial situation for themselves. But it has turned into, free agency and the Wild West a little bit when you combine the transfer portal and NIL. It's turned into, like I used the word before, it's just a little messy because there's a lot of variables that are involved now. And with such a large number of transfers and basically every program in the nation now targeting transfers, it's really completely changed the dynamic of recruiting.
Now, speaking of NILs, before they were implemented, were you in favor of something like that?
I think college athletes should have the opportunity to earn money. I think the way it's gone, unfortunately, it started a little vague. It was more of a university and or state kind of managing the rules and or decisions, which it should be kind of a unified way in doing it. So my one gripe is that there's a lot of gray area, and it was done a little vaguely. And obviously, this off season, some of that tough stuff came to light. But I do believe student athletes are putting a ton of time into athletics, and the reality is, if you play the piano or you play the guitar or whatever your strength is as a person, like those people have the opportunity to earn money, and there's no reason that student athletes shouldn't be able to off of their name, image, and likeness. It shouldn't be pay for play where you're just going to a school and they're giving you $500,000 to show up and go to class. I don't believe that should be the case, but I do think you should be able to earn money off your name, image, and likeness, and there should be some parameters with it that keeps it fair. But I do believe athletes should have the opportunity to be able to earn money off name, image, and likeness.
Are you surprised at how quickly NIL and collective deals have escalated?
No. I think if it was implemented a little smoother, I don't think it would have escalated as quickly. I don't think, again, it would be as gray as to what exactly are you allowed to and not allowed to do. Obviously there's programs and places and boosters and donors and all those things and corporations that really want to see their local university win and want to be involved in that. But I don't believe that a kid should be getting paid $1 million to show up for an autograph session and show up for 4 things. Like I think there's got to be a limit or some kind of set guideline as to how it needs to be done, and the regulation of it, I don't think is completely organized right now.
Do you have different feelings when it comes to just a regular NIL deal as opposed to a collective?
No, and I haven't dealt with it as much as probably some of the BCS level schools. We have probably half a dozen guys who have some type of NIL stuff going on right now, and I think in our some
Yeah.
people have taken advantage of, and some people have struggled with, because I think people are doing it different ways in different places, which, again, to me makes it very difficult when it's spaced by university and state regulations, not, one governance regulating how it's going to be managed.
Absolutely. Do you feel like being a basketball coach has become more of a 24/7, 365 job now than, say, back when you were back in Hofstra?
Good question. I mean, yes and no. To me, it's always been that. I'm the son of a coach, so that's the way I was raised in this. It's an all-consuming and year-round, day-round. It doesn't really stop for us because of a lot of reasons. Recruiting has completely changed.
Yeah.
It's where in the spring you usually had one or two scholarships, and now teams have 7, 8, 9 scholarships, and that portal window, that stretch of end of the season until May 1st is a grind recruiting wise. Where again we did that at Iona, so it's something I'm used to. But for a lot of people, that time of year was more of a quiet time of
Right.
year, where now you're recruiting a lot more. We've been given summer access to our guys, where we can train our guys over the summer. So now you're talking about 8 weeks. You're working your guys out. You have them on campus where 15 years ago your guys may come to work camp or may come to take a class, but you weren't on the floor with them. So
Right.
now you're with your guys basically throughout the summer as well. And those two things I think have really changed from the end of the season until September. You just have to be around more. There's just a lot more going on, and it's not, the summer is your off season. So it's not really an off season, and that to me, that's the biggest difference. That you could still there were guys who coached 30 years ago that were 7-day a week, 12-hour a day guys, but with different responsibility. Now you're talking about it's June 16th, and I have my guys here. We worked out. In the process of hiring a strength coach, you're dealing with your recruiting for next year,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of downtime. Where I think in the past there was just more time you were away from your players, and now you're definitely recruiting 12 months a year, because if you're recruiting high school kids as well, you're going to summer events, you're going to see kids in the fall, then you have your season, then the season ends, and now there's this whole portal recruiting season. So it has become more encompassing, I think, just in terms of the time you have to put in.
How difficult is it to balance life with work while making sure that you have the same passion year in and year out?
Again, for me, I don't have many outside of my basketball program and my family. I don't have a ton of hobbies. I don't play golf. I don't fish. For me, it's I coach basketball and I go home to my family, my wife, and my children. So this is my passion. So to me, it's not really work. It's all I've known since I was 3 years old, growing up as the son of a coach. And when you love doing it, to me, it's not work. So the biggest thing for me is being able to balance my work-family life, because my family is very important. I want to be a great husband, great father. So balancing that and also putting enough time in and then doing all the things you need to do to run a successful program, to me, is the biggest piece. I'm trying to find that balance of being a great father, husband, family man, and also trying to put the time and energy and work into running a really good program.
With all these new things going on, do you think we might see more coaches take the route of what Jay Wright did and maybe retire sooner than some may expect?
I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I just from talking to some of the older, and I still think I'm like the young coach on the block, which I'm starting to trend in that other direction. But there's some of the guys who've been doing this, 25, 30 years. I think because of the change, some people aren't comfortable with change, and things have changed a lot very quickly. The last few years, we went through COVID, and then there were all these changes. The NIL stuff, the transfer portal. So I think these last 4 or 5 years have been challenging and tiring for some people. And I do think, and especially recruiting at the BCS level, where you're talking about like natural position to do it, can say, do I want to continue? Or, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Jay coach again, but I think he was tired, and it can do it to you. When you're coaching a team, recruiting at a really high level, meeting with donors and going to dinners and public speaking, all the things Jay has to do, it's a lot. And I think it takes away from your family. It takes away from your own time. And at some point, it probably does. It does run you down. And again, I think COVID added to that has made it kind of a long stretch for some guys. I shouldn't say for some guys, for everybody.
Yeah.
For all of us, it's been a difficult, long, however many years.
My last question is one I'm asking to all the coaches I talk to. How much longer do you see yourself coaching?
Long time. If I'm blessed enough to. Again, for me, this isn't work. I don't show up and feel like I'm going to work. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I love being around, young men and helping them, hopefully impacting their lives and trying to change their lives. So for me, I don't think I have a shelf life. This is something that I'm very passionate about and love doing every day. And at the point in my life where I don't feel that way anymore, then, I'll have to kind of consider those things. But right now, I don't think that's something in the near future for me, definitely not by my doing. And hopefully I'm blessed enough to have the opportunity to do this for a long time. And when the time comes, that hopefully I'm ready. I'm sure I'll know when I'm ready and when I've had enough, and when that time comes, and you figure out what the next chapter is.
Great. Coach, I really appreciate the time and really look forward to watching the Bulldogs next season. And welcome to America East, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much. I'm hoping we can continue to be competitive and win a few games.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
Bye-bye.